Thank you so much for joining us for 10 out of 10. Yes, this is the podcast that aspires to give you 10 takeaways in just 10 minutes. We focus on leaders in the home furnishings industry and others that can really start some conversations. And of course, by the way, I do need to thank our sponsors of 10 out of 10. We want to thank Synchrony. We want to thank Fortiva Retail Credit, American First Finance, and Versatile. Now, this group is together because they create a unified platform that, thanks to Versatile's technology, it connects Synchrony for those prime promotional offers, Fortiva for second look financing and payment options from American First Finance so that customers can get a quick yes in store or online. And we know how important that is. My guest today is Rob Petrosino of PeakActivity. He's a digital innovation and emerging technologies expert, as is PeakActivity. So, Rob, first and foremost, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. You're a first timer, so you got to know that I literally sit here and I put the stopwatch on and we start the 10 minutes right now. Rob, I had the
Beautiful.
pleasure of interacting with you at the HFA Summit just in the last couple of weeks. And there was something you said that for me, I refer to as a stunner. It just stopped me in my tracks. And this is what you offered. You said data shows that 78% of team members are bringing their own AI into the workplace. Now, to me, as a former CEO, that is scary stuff, and I see risk. Would you talk a little bit about, first of all, why that's so high, why that's happening, and then let's get into a little bit about ways to manage around these concerns that somebody like me has.
Yeah, you should be scared. It's okay to be scared about this because it's not just one aspect that you should be worried about. It's not just your own PII of the company or your customers or anything along those lines. It's also what the organization could be doing that you don't have any control over, right? The person that's getting this information, what are they going to do with it, right? So there is a little bit of uneasiness that should happen there, whether it's your own intellectual property or personally identifiable information. It's a scary thing. You should be scared. The reason this is happening though is because people want to do their job better, and better often means easier, and easier often means convenient. So if you're putting hurdles in front of convenience for your internal employees, they're going to find ways to get around that. And a really good way of doing that is this guy right here, right? Right? The cell phone and being able to just hop onto an artificial intelligence tool and get a bunch of their work done. They're going to do that. So there is an innate need or desire to be more efficient. And that efficiency comes from the individual contributor, and that could be at the expense of the organization.
Is this a symptom, do you think, of the fact that there's just a lot of companies that aren't actively embracing AI or at least getting their arms around what this means for their business?
Yeah, I think that there's two big issues there. There's the organizations that are just wholeheartedly, no, don't use this. It's bad. It's scary. We don't want any desire to do it. And then there's the other ones that have been like, no, use this specific artificial intelligence that we've locked down to the point that it's really useless, or the implementation from a vendor doesn't really work within their system. So there's no value. So immediately a human is going to circumvent those and get around and find a way to use the tool that actually makes their life easier.
So let's try to help folks here in how to manage that. So I know companies that have basically said we're only allowing you to use allowing you to use these sanctioned AI tools. So you're saying first and foremost they better be good tools. So you can't just sort of check that box and move on. So let's talk about that first of all. So you got to make sure it's something that they can connect with and that makes sense for the business first and foremost. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So it's not the tool that is good or bad, but it's the technique related to implementing it. Meaning, did you talk to the people that are going to use it? Do they know how they should use it? Do they have a level of AI literacy on your tool that you're bringing in? Sometimes it's not the matter of the tool, but it's the technique on how you give it to those users to drive adoption and make sure they're not churning to a model that or a tool that's outside of your ecosystem.
So if I'm running a business right now or own a business, how do I incentivize my team to use the AI tools that I want them to use and not bring stuff from the outside that I've got no insight in?
Yeah, so great question. Number one is have a conversation with the people that are using the tool and let them be frustrated and share those frustrations. Okay. Most
Okay.
people, when they share that frustration, those are just areas of opportunity. Hey, it doesn't work in this area. I really need to do this. Hey, it doesn't work here. I really want it to be able to do Y. The reports are bad. The numbers are this or that. That expressing of concern and frustration is going to one alleviate them from being, harboring these feelings about the tool, and allow you to craft really unique techniques and really unique experiences for the user so that they actually get value. So taking in that feedback and then building a strategy about how to implement that feedback in a meaningful way for the user. And that's really layer one, is like having transparent and open conversations with people.
Do you think, and this is a loaded question, do you think that CEOs are a big part of the problem? Because one of the things in your talk is you talked about how most CEOs feel that their teams are unprepared for integrating into AI. Now that sounds like that's pointing the finger at the teams, but I'm also thinking there's got to be a level of self-awareness there of the CEO and the leader of the company.
Yeah, I think it's not the CEO's fault. This technology is moving at a breakneck speed, where even someone like me, who's engrossed in it every single moment of every day, misses things. So it's very hard to skip and just hit the white caps of the waves and know everything that's going on. It also doesn't help when you're forcing down AI usage across the whole organization and not hearing the bottom up use cases that are happening. It has to be a bi-directional street between the two. The other major issue that I think is a lot of CEOs lean on their CISOs and CTOs, and those CISOs and CTOs are used to steering big battleships and not used to technology at the pace of change that AI is causing. So there's a lot that's kind of ruffling feathers here.
But I want to, give people a little bit of a silver lining. You did mention that most team members, most employees, most folks that are out there, that they're willing to use AI, that they've got an appetite for it. So it seems to me that that's one of those things that you can also leverage.
Yeah, without a doubt. People want to use this tool because they've either used it in their personal life in some way, shape, or form, or they've used it for a work task and have gotten a good result, right? We're seeing that momentum of, oh, this actually makes a lot of sense, right? And the reason it makes a lot of sense is because the ease of access for individual users is so low. Right, it's not like cell phones where you had to go buy a cell phone. It's not like the internet where you had to go get coax installed, right, or dial up. That means that there's a level of willingness to use the tool. That willingness is something that we haven't seen before. So now that's a big part of why we need to, really push our individual contributors to tell us where they want to use it, and then build a strategy about around why they can use it in these specific ways.
And it's interesting. One thing that you talked about, and a lot of people focus so much on AI when it comes to customer facing situations, and
Mhm.
you really focus a lot on what this means for the back room of companies. And you had a great statistic. You said that like 9 out of 10 organizations don't feel like they're seeing measurable P&L impact from AI. Is that a misperception? Is it driving, or can it be driving your P&L more than a lot of companies think it can?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we always hyper fixate on using a new technology to drive revenue for the organization. And usually that revenue is external to us. Right. And that's really where the wild, wild west is when it comes to artificial intelligence. Oh, I'll just throw a chatbot on, or I'll revamp my customer service to be a whole AI team. And those aren't always the best implementations of the AI, right? Of the tool itself. In the internal side, you can drive optimization of workforce. You can put humans on tasks that they should be on and reduce some of the work that an AI can do. And now you're actually in a more controllable environment, number one. And two, you have the ability to learn how AI is going to work itself within the organization and then expose that to external users that are potential customers or current customers.
Awesome. As we kind of work into the last few moments of our time together today, Rob, you referred to the humans and AI inflection point. Would you define that, please, and explain why this is something that you think is an important concept?
Yeah, so one of the principles that we always geared ourselves around is being human first and last, right? And the inflection point of humans and artificial intelligence is that at some point a human has to be involved in the process, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't hand it off to an artificial intelligence. When you hand it off to the artificial intelligence, it should come back to the human at some point. So that inflection point of where that handoff happens, how it happens, and where it comes back to the humans is something that you have to think through throughout the whole process, whether you're starting in the sales, the marketing department, the finance, HR, et cetera. That inflection point is really, really important. And pinpointing where you're going to do that is critical for the success of any implementation.
So what, so I'm hearing you saying is, so don't get into this thought about you're just gonna plug in AI, hand it off, and you're done. You're really saying make sure you understand how it fits in this process.
Yeah, of course, right? So if I know process that are involved, I know the people that are involved in the current technology, you can start pinpointing where artificial intelligence or automation for that matter is going to impact this and make everyone's lives a little bit easier.
Well, Rob, believe it or not, that's our 10 minutes. We never try to answer all the questions here, but certainly you bring up a lot of things that I think that anybody listening to this that's running a business needs to think about and step back and embrace, because this is not something that's coming down the road. It's here and it's only going to continue to expand and grow. So, I mean, I think that's really the key thing today. So, Rob Petrosino, Peak Activity, we thank you so much for joining us here on 10 out of 10. I'm Mark Schumacher, and we look forward to seeing you here next time.
Thanks, Mark.
You got it, buddy.